Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Curiosity Monkey podcast. We are back for another episode, and Pat, welcome back to the podcast. You're on last time for what was AI human relationships.
I'm back this time. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so this one it's a combination of philosophical question, but also a bit of science, whether it's actually possible. So the idea for this episode, we're looking at whether humans, whether humans can live forever, but more so, should they pursue the goal of living forever? And when I say living forever, I'm not meaning like eliminating risks such as getting hit by a car. I'm meaning biological immortality. So stopping yourself from dying of diseases related to aging, essentially. So, I think this topic has kind of been around since the start of humans.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's all the myths like Fountain of Youth,
Yeah, and
religion.
religion is the big one. Like immortality is like a thing that you get at the end of your life. You go to the afterlife, and it's some like heaven or something. It's a perfect world where you live for the rest of time, infinite time, I guess. But many people, I guess, don't like the idea of immortality. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, I've told Fergus this a few times, but basically my plan is I get to 80, I've done most of what I want to do in my life. I'm just gonna go up onto a mountain, take a bunch of heroin, and die. Like, it sounds depressing, but it's like your life's done then. I feel like, and I don't want to live forever because that's just too long.
But how you're saying this at like a long time away from 80, how are you going to feel by the time you get?
No, but it's
how
like,
do you know what you're going to feel like?
That's not like a bad thing, It's just like you're falling asleep forever. Like, I like sleeping, so I'll probably I don't think it's bad. I think you have a good life, it's over, and that's it. That's my opinion, anyway.
What if your life is you still feel it's worth living? Do you continue then?
Well, yeah. If I'm like loving life at 80, the thing is, like, I see most 80-year-olds and they're just not that happy and not really doing that much. I don't want to be like that. But if I'm still loving life at 80, if I'm going around partying, having a great time, doing crazy stuff, like I'm happy to keep on going for then. But I'm talking about I don't want to like slowly degenerate and not be able to physically do stuff and not enjoy my life anymore.
So do you reckon it's not a worthwhile pursuit for humans to pursue immortality in some form?
Well, I'm not personally like worried about living forever, but I can see, I don't know, I feel like it's something we're like medically really, really far away from and will never be achieved in our lifetimes, most likely. The best chance is freezing yourself and hoping someone wakes you up in 500 years when maybe they understand it a bit better.
But yeah, we're talking just before this episode that I think there are around 500 people, give or take, frozen currently, waiting to be resurrected, and these people pay like hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Usually, most of these people are American, and eventually, the idea is when the technology is around to revive them and bring them back to a youthful state, they'll get defrosted and live, I guess, a long time in the future. But I think there are many problems with that. The big one, just will you ever manage to create the technology that allows you to defrost people and then bring them back to a healthy state? And because that could be a long, long time in the future if it ever happens. So you have to keep these bodies preserved for all that time. And then also, I mean, they're dead now, and being dead, they're not aware of anything because they're dead. So you could just not wake them up and they wouldn't know.
So would you do that if you were rich, Fergus? If you had like unlimited money, you're a billionaire, would you do that? If you're about to die, would you bother freezing yourself and seeing what happens?
The thing is, in my view, you've already gone through the hard bit. You've done the dying bit, which is the difficult bit. And then you're dead already. To me, you've done the hard bit. I don't want to have to go through that again. Like,
so you're saying, like, if you're dying, you should just accept it, not try and survive, because then you have to go through dying again.
Well, that's my view. I know, like, dying's not pleasant, but death itself is different from dying, if that makes sense. You can be dead and
very
not
morbid.
Yeah, you're not really aware of your state when you're dead because you're dead, but the dying process is the difficult bit, I think. I mean, yeah, everyone has different views around death, obviously, because there are religions and stuff created around it.
I mean, who knows what happens? Like we can be like, scientifically you're just dead and there's nothing else, but it's like, who really knows, to be honest?
Who really knows? Yeah. Anyway, back to reality, I guess. In this episode, we'll look at what are the cons and pros and cons to pursuing immortality. You may not want immortality, so you may not want to live forever, but it may still be a worthwhile human pursuit. So let's begin with what is the root cause of most death in the developed world, and that is aging. So aging is basically, it's the process where organisms become older until they die, and really what's happening here is you've got deterioration of the systems of the body that are required to keep an organism alive. And yeah, so you can imagine, like, when you're young, your body is in a stable state, like all the cells are working as they should do. But then as you get older, the cells maybe not functioning quite like they used to, and eventually the body begins to deteriorate. And for me, I like to look at it in terms of entropy. So entropy is like a measure of disorder within systems. So think when you're young, your cells are functioning exactly how they should because they're doing all the functions that they're meant to do. And so you can think of that as like a low entropy, an ordered system where everything's functioning correctly. And then as you're getting older, you're kind of going to a state where your cells are no longer functioning quite as they should do. And then you've got like high entropy and more disorder in your system. Because you can think of life as going against entropy in a way, because it's building up large complicated structures to do different tasks from smaller molecules and building blocks. And the universe is trying to increase entropy, and your body is fighting against this, but it can only do it for so long before it falls to entropy.
I think biologically we're not built to last that long, so many things start going wrong when we get to a certain age. That's, medically it's such a tough task to stop it all.
For humans, like approximately 50 billion cells die every day in our bodies, and then they are replaced. And so aging happens not just to ourselves, but also to smaller units such as our cells. But it's kind of like a new phenomenon. We've had this problem, like it's only been the last few hundred years where people have grown old enough that they are dying of these diseases, like, I don't know, Alzheimer's, different cancers and stuff. Most people before would have just died of infection.
So one thing is, what if you could somehow remove your consciousness from your body and replace it? Replace your body with a new one, somehow, like a younger version of yourself.
So you're like copying your brain, whatever structure of the brain, putting it into a new...
I don't know how it works, to be honest. Like, it's, yeah.
Well, it doesn't...
We don't know enough about how the brain works, to be honest, to really fully understand.
Yeah, right now it definitely doesn't work because, well, I've definitely not seen any examples where this has happened. I think it's very far off in the future. But
if you clone someone, that's not you, that's not your consciousness.
So now we're living much longer typically. We're living into old age. We're not dying of the infections that most people died of in the past. It feels like the logical next step is to find treatments for many of the age-related diseases, which are killing people now when they get to old age, like their 80s. But also, I guess there's an idea that you can prevent or reverse the root cause of these diseases, and the underlying cause of most of these diseases is aging. So as you get older, the rate of different cancers and different diseases such as Alzheimer's or heart disease or something, it increases like exponentially really with age. And so the idea is if you can reverse aging or at least halt aging, then you can really prevent a lot of these diseases that are killing people when they get old, and then you can theoretically become immortal if you don't die of something else. But we don't really know if this is possible. Aging is just such a complicated topic, and it's multifactorial. Like many different things are thought to cause like the aging process. But the idea in this episode is, should we try and become immortal? Like, if there was a society where we could live for a long time, maybe not infinitely, but just orders of magnitude longer than we are now, what would that society look like? What do you reckon? Because say people could live now 1,000 years.
Well, we can, if like people live forever, you shouldn't have people being born, because then just we'll have too many people. So something would need to be done about that, I feel like. Like, maybe if you live forever, you can't have any more kids or something. I don't know. But, so yeah,
you're allowed a kid if you plan on dying soon.
Yeah, basically, like it has to be one in, one out. You know, you have a kid, you have to die yourself.
Okay.
That could be actually like a good way of doing it. Like, if you had enough of life, you want to kill yourself, then you get a kid for your last few years, and you raise that kid and then just die. So I
guess in this world, 20 years to raise a kid is nothing. So
yeah, exactly. You raise a kid for 20 years, then you're just like, oh, bye, and just die.
And how do you say you get to a point where you've managed to eliminate aging, so people aren't aging like they used to, so they can theoretically live forever in their own bodies. How do you decide how to die or when to die, or because you can't just like, I don't know how this works.
I mean, like you can just kill yourself, I guess. Like I don't know. Like maybe after 1,000 years, surely you could have just done everything by then, everything worth doing.
But humans have they just have a feeling to survive. Like, say you're feeling just like you do now, are you gonna really want to just kill yourself? I don't know.
You know how also like it feels like time kind of speeds up as you get older. What would happen like when you're 1,000? Surely like time, you'd be like a year goes by in like a month.
So what, like, I guess you've experienced everything so much that
yeah, you've got like nothing surprises you anymore. I don't know. I feel like when you're that old, it's like, yeah, what's the point? You've done everything so many times. Like,
I guess you would never really know what you're gonna feel like until you get to that point. It's like, maybe you will get to a point where you're like, yeah, I'm happy, I'm satisfied, and maybe there's a law that allows you to easily just die, slip away into nothing, painless death. Because if you can invent aging stuff that reverses your aging, then you can probably invent like a perfect way to die. But it's just weird because humans are, I feel like most animals naturally just, like, in their biology, they don't want to die because it's part of survival, it's part of how evolution
But then you can't
happens.
have any kids, you know, you can just be a miserable guy just going on forever. But then it's like, I don't know, I don't see any problem with that until the Earth explodes eventually.
Until the Earth
universe
explodes.
crashes into a single atom again. You get, what's the opposite of the Big Bang? It's like the Big Crunch is what everyone's saying is going to happen.
So some people will decide after 1,000 years or less or a bit longer, okay, I'm done with this world. They kind of just slip out. And some people, they hold on to life to the last minute, and then society blows up as the sun expands and consumes the Earth. And
by that point, we'll probably be on different planets and that, and be all doing fine.
Until the heat death of the universe.
I mean, it might be just also that we kill ourselves out way before then. Just
it's possible.
Silly nuclear war. If people have like invented nukes, surely like in 100 years they'll have invented like bigger bombs that can destroy a whole planet, like some fusion bomb or something. Surely it can get bigger than that. So
yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of ways we should just kill ourselves.
And yeah, even with the current technology, given enough time, there's probably likely, like, if you, I don't know, 5 billion years of time. Like, there's so many things that could happen and go wrong in that time.
Yeah, some kind of like Kim Jong-un makes an evil virus that it's like 100% fatal and really contagious. That has happened soon. You know, biowarfare.
Yeah, well, I really feel this episode is...
It's maybe going a bit off track.
This episode is getting a bit sad now. With all the ways that you could possibly die. Yeah, it's... I guess the other thing is, instead of trying to live forever, should we not just accept and get over our fear of death? Just accept it.
Yeah, well, that's why I feel like it's like why are we scared of death? You know, it happens. It's like, I don't know. It just seems like, yeah. Why are we worried? It's just asleep.
I guess it's not really a logical thing, but it's more like an emotional thing built into us. Just
surely in 1,000 years, though, at some point you'll think, oh, it's not that bad, really. Like, you've got so much time to like think about everything. Surely there'll be one like phase where you go all emo and you're like, oh, death's actually quite cool, and then that's when you kill yourself. So I'm going a bit off the rails here. I feel like this is not the most scientific discussion for the Curiosity Monkey.
It's not. I mean, we don't know a ton about aging, and certainly don't know how to fully reverse aging, so we don't get older anymore. But it is an interesting topic, because maybe in the future, a long time in the future, this will be possible, and I don't know if it's a good thing. To me, it's like, well, the pursuit of, even if you don't want to live forever, the pursuit of trying to live forever might unlock like biotechnologies that allow us to treat diseases in young people. Like, there's so many young people now who get cancer. There's so many people like in their 50s who will get cancer because you get some kind of like acceleration of aging around 50, and most people there, like, they don't want to die at 50. Like, it's probably a bit short-changed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot better thing to invest in than like going to Mars. I don't see the point of that. It's like, Mars is a shithole. Earth's pretty nice as it is. Why aren't we happy here?
Yeah, well, I guess it's just throughout history we've always explored different colonial ships going out to different parts of the world.
We defund Mars expeditions. Blur, I can't speak. And basically just funds making people healthier now.
Yeah. I think my argument is, as long as there are like people around with money, so just rich people, these people, there'll be a certain fraction who will want to live forever.
Yeah.
And so they will fund research that tries to get them to live forever. And so I have a feeling that, like, even if it's not in humanity's, like, it's not up the top priorities for humanity, I argue that it's probably going to happen anyway. As in, they'll try and live forever.
I feel like I can see Elon going through like a phase of that. He just suddenly realizes he's old and out of shape, and he's like, I want to live forever now, and puts all his money into that.
Yeah, and one part of me is like, it's kind of stupid. It's definitely a better use. There's better uses of resources, but at the same time, I think that if you can create the technology that allows you to reverse aging, then you will be able to use that technology to cure diseases in like regular people who don't necessarily want to live forever, but they want to live to 80, 90 or 100 or something. Maybe want to live a little bit longer. And also think of like the dying process for humans right now is mostly not great. Like, you get to like 80 or 90 and you've got a load of years before you die where you're not necessarily having the best time. You've got loads of different like comorbidities, like just your body's breaking down, your brain's not functioning like it did, you can't hear as well, you can't see as well, like you're frail, you can't walk, you can't do the things you wanted to do. Surely you want to like increase your
mountain.
You want the heroin mountain. Alternatively, you might want to just live, I guess you want to live healthy throughout the entire lifespan and then just die.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way.
That's I think the natural way of life.
But there's still the problem of if you can, like, I don't know, say you worked out a way to halt the progression of Alzheimer's, you've managed to cure different cancers. Like, eventually you've got to die of something if you want to. Say you want to die at 80, you've got to die of something. How do you pick like where to stop?
I don't know. Maybe people will just end up living forever. I mean, it's difficult to know how like far healthcare can go, because really, like, I feel like healthcare's kind of reached the limit for now, at least, where people are dying at 80, and it's difficult to push it much higher than that for that average person.
Yeah. So.
So it has to be. You have to have some crazy breakthroughs.
Well, what we've seen over the last 100 years is, it's like people before, they'd die of infections, they wouldn't manage to get to old age. But now we have the privilege of getting to old age where we're dying of these diseases. And so that's pretty cool. We've managed to essentially double our lifespan over the last 500 years. But people want to keep going because that's just, I guess, the natural human thing or natural animalistic urge to survive. But we are beginning to hit a ceiling on how far we can push it with regards to increasing our life expectancy. And to break through this, we will need anti-aging technologies. Aging, how do we crack it? Let's talk a little bit of science after all that philosophy or whatever even we were talking about there.
I love these like Rumby podcasts, but I feel like you need to have at least a slight scientific basis.
You've got to cling on to reality here. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about what actually is aging. Aging is quite complicated. I don't fully understand it, obviously. I'm not a biologist, but even aging experts don't fully understand what's going on in the body as we get older. So we recognise as we get older, our body kind of gets to a point where it starts to break down and show symptoms of aging, and those are like skin gets wrinkly, your hearing, you get hearing loss, your eyesight loss, so you can get frail, you get dementias, muscle loss, mobility loss, and also increased risk of loads of different diseases. And that's not great, but what's actually going on here? So aging is actually the biggest risk factor, or one of the biggest risk factors for most chronic diseases. So as you get older, you've got exponentially higher risk of different chronic diseases because of aging. But what is actually causing this? And so there is a large uncertainty of the cause of aging, and there are a few different hypotheses, and they probably work alongside each other. So, multifactorial kind of mechanisms that causing you to age. So the central idea in aging biology is that you've got cellular senescence, which is when cells lose their ability to divide and function properly. And this is what drives age-related decline. And so senescent, am I saying that right? Senescent cells can no longer proliferate and fully perform their specialized roles. And they can secrete inflammatory signals and damage tissues. But what causes this senescence? And the answer is quite complicated and involves multiple mechanisms. But we'll have a look at just one or two, because there are loads of them, and they're quite complicated, not fully understood, and I don't think we need to cover all of them in this episode, really. So one of the big ones is genomic instability. So you've probably heard that through your life, DNA will mutate, and that DNA damage will accumulate over your lifetime. And so DNA damage occurs during DNA replication. So when your cells divide, you need to replicate the DNA in your genome so that each cell in your body has all the genes it requires. So basically your whole genome is inside each cell. So you have to replicate your whole genome during cell division. So each cell has all the DNA, essentially. Also, like, your cells are producing loads of products. We call these metabolites, and some of these metabolites can be harmful to the DNA. So you've got reactive oxygen species, for example, it's like oxygen radicals, they can damage DNA. You've also got the classic environmental factors. It's like the UV from the sun, or if you're smoking, or if you eat, like, I don't know, black tar or something.
It's black tar.
I imagine that's probably carcinogenic.
Probably.
And all of that in combination with the fact that the mechanisms that are designed to repair your DNA become less efficient as you get older. And so the frequency of mutations that the body sees will increase with age. And genes, if you're not aware, genes basically are what make the proteins of the body. And so they hold the information that allows you to make proteins. And proteins make up your body. Like, you're mostly made of water, but structurally you have loads and loads of proteins. Those different proteins and perform like the specific tasks in your body. So hormones, different enzymes, they build your tissues, your muscles, your ligaments, the like whatever's going on in your brain. They code for everything that happens in your body, essentially. That's why your whole body can be created from one single cell. And again, it's not just the genes themselves that can become like damaged as you get older. You have something called epigenetics, which is essentially the control over your genes. Like, every cell will contain the entire genome of the human body, but you do not want to express all of these genes at the same time in all cells, because if you want cells to act differently, so you want to distinguish between your brain cells and your muscle cells and your skin cells, then you want to express specific proteins that are used in those cells and that make that cell what it is. But if you express everything at the same time, then that's a problem. And epigenetics allow control over what genes in your genome are expressed at a given time in a given cell. And so your body can lose controls over what genes are expressed, and you can get proteins that are expressed too much or expressed too little, and so, or maybe proteins that aren't meant to be expressed in a given cell but are. So you could have a brain cell that also expresses like muscle proteins, so like it's not fully a brain cell anymore, but it's producing muscle cell tissue, and that's not great. You don't want that going on. So maybe you've got like 95% brain cell and 5% muscle cell, because really the identity of the cell is like, what proteins is it producing?
Could you like accidentally like grow a brain in your leg also by that like logic?
Well, I feel like it's grow a fully brain.
Just like a bit of a brain, you know, like a
mini brain.
Very nice.
Well, I haven't seen that ever before, so I'm guessing it doesn't happen very often.
So I'm just like asking random questions because I don't really understand this technically that much.
So, yeah, you get to a point where as you get older, the cells may be working less effectively, so they're not carrying out their function as well as they could be. Another theory is telomeres. You've probably heard of telomeres. Like,
no, I haven't.
No? Oh, well. Yeah, so telomeres are repetitive DNA sequences that are like associated with proteins at the ends of chromosomes. And so when you're undergoing cell division, the telomeres don't fully replicate. So over time, they will shorten. And it's because the DNA polymerase, which is what's binding the nucleotides together, cannot fully replicate those ends. And so eventually those telomeres will get to a critically short length, and these cells will you'll get to the end, and then it will start each replication will start removing like nucleotides or DNA of the genes, and you don't want that, obviously. And so most of these cells will just they're programmed to die, essentially, so they don't accumulate DNA damage. Overall, it may sound quite complicated. There are many different mechanisms. Aging is the progressive loss of like the control of the cell, So the loss of gene expression, which leads to weakened cell identity. So like what the cell is, it could be a brain cell, it could be a muscle cell, but it could also be a mixture between the two. And you've got that accumulated DNA damage. You've got proteins which are just not like misshapen proteins, or the organelles, or what's inside the cells, are not functioning as they used to.
So it's basically just mutations accumulating over time, right? Then
That's one of the big ones. There's loads of different mechanisms that we didn't cover in this episode, but
yeah, I guess scientifically it's probably quite difficult to undo mutations in individual cells. So that seems like a very, very tough task to, stop in any way.
Yeah, well, there is still debate whether this is possible to fully reverse aging. Some people think it's possible. Many people don't think it's possible. And when I say people, I mean like the actual scientists who know what they're talking about, not us. But one thing seems quite clear is that you have to treat all of the different mechanisms that are causing you to age. And that seems like a very challenging task, because you have to not only identify every single mechanism that's causing you to age, but then you have to understand it, and then also put treatments that will halt or even reverse that aging. Because aging's not caused by one thing alone, it's caused by a huge number of different mechanisms that are across the whole body. And because we're still learning huge amounts about the body right now, and we're nowhere near close to learning everything there is to know about the human body, it feels like it could be a long, long time until any real progress is made in this field. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about can we maybe reverse aging, but what if we didn't have a biological form at all? What if we instead somehow uploaded our consciousness to either a computer that was connected to a robot or just into the cloud? Does this count as living forever, would you say?
I don't know, because firstly, I feel like so much of your kind of personality is in your brain, and if your brain's not going to be uploaded, then I mean, we don't even understand what consciousness really is at the moment. So I think it's very difficult to upload your consciousness when people don't understand what your consciousness is.
Yeah.
So for me, that sounds like something we're not at all close to. Could potentially happen in the future, but who knows? It's way too far away to think about it.
Yeah, because if consciousness is, I don't know, the sum of your entire brain and nervous system, say that's what it is, then you're just copying it. You're not actually transferring your consciousness over. You're just copying yourself and putting it into a computer. It's not you, really, is it? You're still in your body.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's... And then also, I feel like there's a few problems as well, because if you've copied yourself over, then your brain has all sorts of connections that deal with human things like breathing and, I don't know, seeing, and like how are you going to deal with that? You're trying to breathe, and you're just a robot. There's no lungs to control.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's yeah.
I feel like if this ever happens, AI has to get very, very good, basically.
Yeah, there's no way we're doing this ourselves. It's way too complicated.
People aren't that smart.
And also, I feel like there'd be problems with like control, because you'd have no control over yourself. You'd be forced to submit yourself to some tech company that would control your consciousness in its cloud computer or something.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine digital Mark Zuckerberg just charges you, increases your plan, and you can no longer afford it, so you have to get the ad plan.
I would not trust Mark Zuckerberg with my consciousness.
So yeah,
that man is up to something, I swear.
There may also be a problem with, like, if we lived forever, like, would you want to keep the same job? Like, would you go to university after 100 years
Well,
and
like, would you
retrain.
even need a job at that point? Like, I feel like, I don't know. In that amount of time, AI will just be doing everything for us. We'll have our robot slaves doing the actual work, and we'll just be living high life, doing whatever we want.
So if we get to that state, you're saying that the world overall would have to look very, very different to how
Yeah.
it does now.
Yeah, no, I think like we're not getting to that state without each person having robot slaves to do all our work for us. I feel like that's closer than living forever.
So we have our robots that do our work, and I guess the entire like economic system looks entirely different because
Yeah.
people aren't working anymore. So they've
It'd
got
be a different economic system. I don't know. Who knows? It's far future stuff.
it's whoever owns the most robots
Yeah.
would be able to get the most money, and then they would buy more robots and make more money.
Yeah.
So then the person who's just been born and can't afford a robot, they're screwed. And yeah, I also feel like at least at the start, it's only going to be possible for the richest of people because they're the ones who are going to be able to afford whatever new medication is
Yeah.
required. So there's like a few examples of like tech people who have made loads of money and now they're trying to live for as long as possible.
There's like one guy specifically, right, who's just like made it his obsession, and he's like really rich. Who is it? Again?
Brian Johnson, I
Yeah.
think. So he does all sorts of different therapies that are aimed to reduce aging, and I mean, it's from my point of view, he's unlikely to live forever.
I just Google him. I want to see what he looks like if he looks young for his age.
Yeah, so Brian Johnson, he's a fairly rich guy, I think, worth like just under $1 billion, so barely even rich by today's standard, let's be real. But his aim is to live as long as possible. It's kind of like a one-man experiment, so he pays like a team of scientists essentially to test him, all the different aging biomarkers, like see what his body looks like, and then applies different therapies. Like the big ones, I think, are just you can do at home. You know, eating better, sleeping consistently and well, exercising.
But he does look young for his age. Is it cosmetic surgery, or is it actually like reversing the aging progress?
Well,
Process, I mean. Yeah.
he claims through whatever tests he's had done, I don't really know, that he's managed to reverse his biological age by, I don't know how long, but at least 5 years. And he's like 50, I think, 50 something maybe, and he does look fairly young for his age. I think he started this like maybe 5 years ago, and so if he started this 5 years ago, then I don't know what he would look like if he started it 25 years ago, for instance. But I mean,
I don't know, he's claiming this, but is he really gonna live longer? I feel like
well, who knows?
be the same as everyone else.
I mean, it's very possible he will not live much longer than everyone else. But I mean, I think for him, he claims that it's not necessarily a bad thing if he didn't live longer. It's not a bad thing because he's happier for it anyway, because he's living a better lifestyle,
Healthy lifestyle and all that. That's probably good.
So like, even if you're not going to live forever, if you're living a lifestyle where you're happier, that's not a bad thing. And I think that brings us, probably it should be to the conclusion of this episode. So what is the takeaway of this episode? In my opinion, it's very unlikely we'll see immortality level anti-aging research coming out anytime soon.
I think in our lifetime it's unlikely, to be honest.
But also technology changes very quickly, and we may not achieve immortality, but we may make breakthroughs in anti-aging research that allow people to live a bit longer, or people to live healthier up to like the age of 100 or something, or reduce different diseases that some unlucky people get when they're very, very young, like very young children with cancers or whatever. Like I think everyone can agree that would be a very positive thing to reduce that.
Yeah.
So that's everything for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.